Good evening. Once again, welcome to Amaqhawe A2 program that plays every Wednesday 5 to 6 p.m. We always appreciate your support. We always want you to listen more as we bring to you all the matters, events, names that are never mentioned in the history of our liberation. Ours is to celebrate liberation heritage. My name is Yongamela Manene. Today, we are bringing to you a day that we dedicate to Mono Padela, remembering Black Wednesday. On 19th of October 1977, the apartheid government banned several organizations they deemed a threat to the regime at the time. Included, this was the banning of several media, including newspapers. Besides banning independent media in attempt to hide horrendous acts by the regime at the time, authorities acted quickly after the coverage of the murder of Stephen Bantu Biko in the same year. He was the leader of Black Consciousness Movement, who was arrested in August that year under Terrorism Act. This move was done in terms of Section 10 of Apartheid, Internal Security Act, which allowed them to arrest, detain, or ban whomever they felt was a threat to the regime. The media gang was to stop journalists from trying to expose the regime, and so the day was deemed Black Wednesday. It is marked as an important platform for discussion on media freedom, the extent which media freedom improved from all those years. We're saying, why is media freedom fragile in South Africa? And the battle is not over. Thus today, Amaqhawe A2 recognizes 4 decades after the Black Wednesday, Mono Padela, as a frequently not so mentioned name in the media fraternity. At the same time, powerful groups continue to seek ways to limit media from advertising and mentioning stuff that is anti them. This must come to an end. Amaqhawe A2 would like to celebrate the life of Mono Padela by dedicating this day to conversations around him. We're going to have conversations, one by Mr. Lennox Class Uvanji, another one by a group of comrades that work with Mono Padela, Obawo Mzolisi Sityasi, Monde, kunye noZola Mthatsi. They are all going to be sharing with us all these messages around Mono Padela. We're also going to read a statement by Vusi Matikinca on Mono Padela, the less frequently mentioned person in the liberation heritage. Welcome, do watch and stay with us throughout the program as we bring to you all these clips. Now we're going to be listening to Lennox Vanji Glass about an account of visits by Mono Padela to Radio Freedom in Lusaka. He's going to be sharing with us. Please do listen to him.
Tatu Mono visits Lusaka in 1988. One day, behind the microphone, Radio Freedom Studios in Lusaka, I'm doing my program, and I see the door opening. Therein comes Tatu Mono. What a pleasant surprise. Ever smiling and imposing Tatu Mono Padela, and is advancing towards me, calling and excited. Now, obviously, one is excited. I played the revolutionary song in the reel to reel. The next thing, he's coming, and suddenly Tatu Mono's eye contact shifts. I see him looking under the table. And under the table, that's where we had placed our AK-47. You see, every time you get on duty, you bring your baby and then you put it under the table. So Tatu Mono could not take his eyes off the AK-47. And then we're talking, and he saw the need to reassure us. No, don't worry, monkey. I won't mention this in South Africa, that in Radio Freedom, the AK-47 under the table. Few days later, Tatu Mono goes back to South Africa and is writing a piece about his encounter with the ANC in exile. And then he headlines this piece, AK-47 under the table of Radio Freedom Studios. Obviously, we laughed about it. It's only Tatu Mono who will do something like that and get away with it. And there was nothing really about that. Fast forward. Today, as we observe the 46th anniversary of what became to be known in South Africa as Black Wednesday. Black Wednesday, it's when apartheid South Africa decided once again to show its true colors. It decided to silence and ban two people's newspapers called World and the Weekend World. As if it was not enough, the regime went on to ban 19 organizations. And then the Boers, apartheid South Africa, decided to ban those organizations. Remember, Tatu Mono at the time was a journalist. Just like some of his counterparts, Mono Padela refused to look away against the atrocities perpetrated by the white regime that sought to expose the nature of apartheid to South Africans. And Tatu Mono was responsible for such stories. Obviously, he did not expect flowers from the regime, from the government. That attracted the attention of the security branch. I'm telling you, Tatu Mono was detained several times, arrested, tortured several times. You see, as we observe this month, October the 19th, we must never forget the sacrifices made by people like Mono Padela. We are where we are today. We are occupying the positions that we are occupying today. We are staying in the areas where we are staying today. We are voting today. Thanks to people like Mono Padela, we were able to achieve that by writing on their beds. We really take our hats off for people like Mono Padela. South Africans should be so indebted really to people like Mono Padela. Now, what is to be done? For instance, but Mono Padela knew that media was there to transform the society, to effect some kind of social change. Now, if we do not do that, it will be a total sellout to people like Mono Padela. All what we need to do, we must revisit what we call mandate of the media houses in South Africa or throughout the world. We are told it is to educate, it is to inform, and it is to entertain. Now we must go beyond that regurgitation. We must ask ourselves, what kind of information we are dishing out to the society? What kind of information and what kind of entertainment? Are we helping South Africans with the kinds of program we're dishing out as various mediums in South Africa? Are we able to listen to any radio station in South Africa today and say, after listening to this program, today I'm able to use this content and off-ramp the cycle of poverty? Are we able to do that? Until such time we do that, people like Mono Padela would have died in vain. It is our responsibility, not only of these political parties, each and everyone in South Africa to say we are going to participate in achieving what Abotatu Mono Patela started, better life for all. And we must teach the people of South Africa the prescribed means of achieving this better life. You cannot say, yes, you agree to get a better life, but you are going to rob a bank. Yes, I agree with a better life, but I'm going to rob people. No. The prescribed means work and work hard. Work and work hard. Go to school and work hard. You'll get a better life. Everybody should preach that gospel. That tomorrow we shall ever be indebted in your sacrifices.
Thanks for listening to what Lennox has raised and shared to us about Ubawo Mono Patela and his way of writing. You hear it for yourselves. But now, let us listen to what Vusi Matikinga has written about Ubawo Mono Patela. He says, much has been said about the late Putmono Patela, particularly his career in journalism. Throughout the townships and beyond, he was a greatly admired newspaperman who used his writing skills to advance the liberation struggle of the oppressed. With his usual chuckle, he would ask, "What is the latest, my friend?" He followed in the footsteps of Nat Nakasa and swelled the ranks of eminent journalists like Donald Woods and Percy Qoboza, who were, like him, dedicated their lives in exposing the evil apartheid regime advanced the liberation struggle. Less talked about and just as important was what he did outside the boundaries of journalism in pursuit of the liberation struggle. In 1963, Putmono was arrested and charged together with Stan Mabizela, Norman Chinga, Nikelo Tsotsobe, and Welcome Duhu. He was acquitted, and his co-accused were imprisoned in Robben Island. He would tell us about his close friend and comrade, the late Stan Mabizela. I could sense the way Putmono would talk about him, that he still kept contact. Anyway, as we would say at the time, izinto zomzabalazo azibuzwa. Due to his political affinity, too, and his love of the ANC, he took it upon himself to visit the homes of senior ANC ex-Robben Islanders. He would interview them and publish the interviews so that what they went to prison for could be known by those who did not know. In 1978, Lungile Tabalaza was murdered by the security branch in Sanlam building. And that made him the first detainee after Steve Biko, who had suffered the same fate from the security branch in the same building, to die in the hands of the security branch. On the day he died, Putmono came to me and late Feya Chume and informed us about Lungile's death. We immediately drove in his car and visited the Tabalaza family in Chulwa Street, New Brighton. We later rounded comrades we were working with and planned the funeral. Putmono was readily available throughout until Lungile was buried, and he covered the funeral in the Herald newspaper, for which he was working for at the time. On the day, with Putmono and other comrades, including the late Wija Zenzile and Monde Mdishwa, we visited one senior comrade, Elalini Ebomvu, Red Location. The comrade had served in prison term on the Robben Island and was later banned. During our conversation with him, he told us that he was not interested in being involved in the struggle anymore, and that it was the turn of other people. Budmono challenged him and asked, "How could you say that?" He told him point blank that the struggle needed everybody, including people like him, that we had reached a point of no return. This one is sensitive, but also worth mentioning. I remember that one day Budmono was very angry with COSAS. He confronted me as to why one of our comrades had given an interview with the Pace magazine. The magazine was newly established propaganda mouthpiece of apartheid establishment and was implicated and exposed in the Mulder Gate Info Gate scandal. I was shocked and told him that no such interview was discussed and endorsed by COSAS. After I left him, and I had quickly called a meeting of a few comrades and the comrade concerned, we suspended him. No one knew that Budmono had a hand in the suspension. While he was under banning order, he took the risk of being arrested and charged with contravening his banning orders. He allowed us to sneak into his house in Limba Street. We could sit and discuss the struggle. I remember the afternoon when the notorious Roelofse and Nieuwoudt arrived at the Badela's home. Budmono spotted them parking their car outside the yard. Siphiwo Mthimkhulu and I ran through the house next door and disappeared. We never stopped visiting, and he did not have a problem with that. In the late Mr. George Pemba, South Africa produced one of the best fine artists. Budmono recognized Mr. Pemba's talent, loved and cherished his work. One day he asked me to accompany him to Pemba's residence in Thembalethu for an interview with him. The interview did not take place that day because we found Mr. Pemba busy with his painting. It was scheduled for another day. Despite the fact that he supported and in his reporting covered all school boycotts that took place in the township, Budmono understood the value of education. When I could not be admitted in any school, one day he drove with me to Cowan High School and pleaded with Mr. Frank Tongeni, who was the principal, to admit me. He did. Later that year, Budmono wrote a front page article in the Herald newspaper and used the late Mbulelo Pele Mnana as an example of black students who, despite all odds, had made it and passed matric with exemption. In his article, he did not spare the education system and the regime from criticism. Budmono Badela was everything he ought to have been. So writes Vusumuzi Matikinca about Mono Badela. We are still celebrating the Black Wednesday with recognizing Ubawo Mono Badela, who has received an award from the President in recognition of his work posthumously. Thank you very much for listening. Coming up is going to be another conversation by Zola Mtatsi, Zoli Sityasi, and Monde Mdishwa on this giant of the media space.
Ja, comrades, well, seniors niggas, it means just no one put Mono Badela. Come on, put Mono Badela. You know, this year marks 46 years since the Black Wednesday, we both travel law of Forster. You know, put Mono thina ke mna ke ne generation yam sidibena ngexesha i-journalist, your World and that other newspaper. Ngexesha ke sekufinyishwa ne-courses. Sasebenza kakhulu ke nabhoti mone. A gentleman, you know, umuntu okwazi u-approacheka, umuntu ofikelelekayo. Umuntu ozalwa 1937, yet we still refer to him as Butmono.
Yeah.
Umdala noma yotata bethu kwakhe, you know. Umuntu ozalwa 1937 because wayefikelele this old man, you know. A renowned rugby administrator was understand as abantwana abatsha and as abantwana abanomsindo. I remember he understood in position here to when we invaded the pitch at the Nkekta Stadium. Kwaro idlala June 16, and were opposed by Kwaro idlala on that day, on 1982. Sa invade Ibala as Kossas and Sa demonstrate. But he was the only administrator who understood the position of the Board, yet he was a rugby administrator. You know, Open Mono, we would visit his house anytime, any day. No color, as it is an entry, what's the latest voice?
Yeah.
What's the latest voice? The good one, I call latest. That's not saying that I was so job, full of my bulletin, full of jango. I got nervous now. Can you full in that? What's the latest? What's the jitters? Is it right? What's the latest voice? You know, Mona Patel.
Yeah.
You know, those days they were get comrades in organizations such as Imakosa, Gusa, in Perco, Kossas, Perwar, and so on. But Bono would attend in meetings, the rallies, these organizations. He would attend and report on those rallies and on those meetings. Mono. What would Mono would inflate in numbers about who attended. 200 people would attend a meeting. But Mono of Balagi newspaper, like 2,000 people attended the meeting. 500 people who attended the meeting a great centenary wall, which is now Nagwasa Chele. But Mono would write one of 5,000 people. Centenary, I was accommodate even 2,000 people at that time. But Mono would inflate the numbers up to 5,000 people attended meeting a centenary, which could not even accommodate 2,000 people.
Yeah.
He was our chief propagandist.
He was.
Well, you know, in Auckland Park, character assassins were destroying our leaders at the time. But Mono supported and stood by our leader. He was a revolutionary. About Mono. You know, sometimes with Mono, you know, he was the only person. Never tungat. He was the only person who had photo and published it with the front page of a national newspaper. Tungat a rifle.
Fearless.
Was the only person who did that to Mono Patel. You know, there's this other year when I at Joburg meeting Mamwene Mandela. And then I flew to Johannesburg. After my meeting, Mamwene, I can tell Mama, my phone Umono, that you're learning Liniaki. My phone no Budmono, what is Zanai? Urapo, Borapumlegan. One driver to Mono Patela's house. He welcomed me. No Mamo Vivian Goska's work. I slept in their house. The following morning, Mono drove me to Nkinegawini again. We all moved to a court. So Mamela, the case at Kerala, the MK. You know, and after that, Mamuin, Rapo drove me to the airport. And Nikimadi Ganga Nunu, Nadi Boligila for a credit plane. Nimali. You know, put Mono, figure like I wanted one your song, so no just finish a hot home. Now, when a zona, Nikan encounters nando put mono. What do you remember more when I put mono when I'm teaching?
Yo, so as you were saying, Uputmona, not only was he a journalist, but Uputmona, benomdla, kwizinto zabantu.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Uputmona wasn't just writing about stories. Jemabusicho. Uputmona participated.
Oh, yeah.
He was part of the community.
Yeah.
You know what always stands out, for me? I remember back in 1977, I think that was my first encounter, Uputmona, 1977, when Itaku Hall was packed. We were preparing for June 16. And then that's where PE SRC was elected. And I was, one of the people who were elected. Uputmono was there, covered that story. And as you were saying, so Uputmono said, thousands and thousands of students, packed, that hall. As you know, Uputmono was that kind of a person. Now I remember now more serious. Now in 1980, we were detained with my comrade Mbumi Yantol. May his soul rest in peace. We were detained in the then, Grahamstown, prison for 8 months. So when we came out, somehow the comrades learned that we've been, released. And the comrades came and picked us up. And as we were driving, we learned that my comrades had organized, a welcoming party. Klotang, Laman.
Yeah.
On our way there, and I requested that, hey, we stop at Putmono. I miss Putmono.
Yeah.
Hey, 8 months, we've been away for 8 months. So we stopped. Comrades waited outside. As you know, Putmono was, under house arrest. We had his banning order only allowed him one person, one visitor at a time. So comrades agreed that as I go in. So I went in. So as I went in, we were like hugging, A minute later, the special branch burst in. And it turned out that they were hiding in the church.
Yeah.
Ebandleni,
Yeah.
Bantu, like,
Yeah.
Ebandleni Katata.
Yeah.
So they apparently turned out they were following us all the way. So they were hiding there. As soon as I went
You were detained. You were released on that day.
same day. I was not out for 2 hours.
Oh,
I was not after 8 months in detention.
Yeah.
I was not out for 2 hours. The special branch pressed into Mono's house,
Yeah.
and they said you're under arrest for preaching, the banning order.
Yeah.
So now, as we're arresting me, Putmono stood up and he grabbed me on the other side and like saying, "We're not arresting him." His wife, Mrs. Vivi, lost her cool, and she was preparing food. She grabbed a pen, hit one of the boas on the head, and there was blood.
Yeah.
So now Putmono was being arrested. Now I was being arrested. So taken away, detained again, but 3 days later, Abu Putsai intervened. So I was detained again like for 3 days. So Uputmono, that's kind of a person he was. And he didn't forget to twist my ear. He didn't forget to twist my ear. He wanted to hear how was the detention.
Yeah.
Uputmono, lo. As you were saying, Mzo Uputmono, even in journalist organizations, Abu Muasa,
Yeah.
Uputmono was there in the executive. Uputmono, as you know, was very interested in sport. Pepco participated with Pepco. He was a huge fan of Cossas. Uputmono, you would think that Cossas is his kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, Simon.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. Uputmono is indlela besithanda umbiza ngayo sonke sithi Uputmono esimzolisi besitsho bemkhulu that bengenangxaki ngalonto leyo. To some of us he was a father.
Yeah.
And in his own right, he was an activist.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
He was an activist, a
Exactly.
true revolutionary.
Exactly.
Whenever we came out of detention, Muslims of those days, would detain namhlanje just like le ithetha umuntu uhlala 2 weeks uyaphuma. Awasezimbabwe udibana nabo-Roelofs, uyaphinde abantu, uyaphinde uyohlala enye 14 days and so on. Every time you came there, we'd be the first one to want to move. Yes. What is new? What is new?
What's the latest? What's the latest? What's the latest?
Yeah, even if there was something within our own community. What is Kosa saying about this?
Yeah.
What is Kosa saying? You don't want us to be involved in all things that are happening. And he knew this if there was anything that we consider to be unjust and that warranted resistance, would be the first to raise our hands and say, yeah, siyaya madoda makithi. Zininzi into esenzileyo uMono ezikhavarisha. Uzawukhumbula uMillie Jackson, nguMillie Jackson nosowakhe walapha
Millie Jackson,
somewhere. Enze istatement ngekade yesithi there's nothing wrong with South African government. It's only just black people are lazy,
And
I remember that.
violent.
Yeah, naturally violent. And they said, no, it can't continue with it. In fact, I wrong yona visit
Visit yakhe.
Millie Jackson, because it was during the boycott, cultural boycott, and all those things. But in a way, he undermined that. She undermined that, and he made those reckless statements, which triggered us into action.
Exactly.
And she had to cut short of into yakhe.
Yeah.
So, and Comrade Umono made big article around that thing, because we won, because he had to cut short not only abebhayike kodwa abantu abaphakamayo ngaloo nto. In most of it, I was like, kakuphakanyiwe kade akaqhubekeki. And I remember it was sort of umuntu o-inspirayo ngezinto zakhe. And nje bebuza nje ngezinto zakhe, ebuza nawe uyakunikisa amacebiso, but why guys, don't we do this? You see?
There was a time. Apho khona, remember Zola, there was a time kune wrangle between Kwaru and Zwiru. Something like that. Mono was an administrator, right but administrator.
Yeah.
And he knew our position, that we could not take sides. We could not support Kwaru or Zwiru, because our constituency, belonged to those as organizations. Yet, they were Watson brothers. Were forcing us to take their side. Were forcing us to take their side. And put Mono understood our position. He understood our stance. And he said, no, you're right.
We're not going to take,
You can't take any side yet. These two warring factions. That's what he did. And both Mono supported us.
A true revolutionary, Uput Mono. A giant, in journalism. We salute him.
And in fact, nowadays, we need more people like Umono. It's very painful now, the role that is playing by media. Very, very painful, and they are not assisting the whole process of reconstruction and development in our country. They are too negative. And the picture that they are giving, particularly mainstream media, the role that they are playing is not helping us in any way. I mean us as the country. I don't mean us as particularly black people or whatever, or ANC or whatever concern. But generally, the role of media nowadays is very, very destructive. The content of the news, most of indaba zethu are more negative about our country and the endeavors that we continue to make in terms of building a South Africa ehambela phambili.
Our country
That's
and
true.
the ANC government in particular.
That's so true.
We need Mzolisi, people like
The
that.
likes of Uput Mono.
We miss them.
Thank you.
We salute him.
Where do I start talking about uBhutmono? Comrades zakhe bezimbiza ngelo gama Bhutmono. Or Manix, the name Manix was given by the late Prince Msuthu. uBhutmono happens to be my dad. Nama ended up calling him Bhutmono because uComrade bebembiza njalo. uBhutmono ke sana, most of the time, baba excited, you know, ebethandi, I think bethandi ANC ngenhliziyo yakhe yonke. Ekhaya ke eLimba kwa number 2 forum, small house. Kuhleli nje kukhona abantu, and these people ngo-comrades. Kungena lo sisalele sivuswa ngabo 7 sekukhona abantu. Bayatshintshisana. Uba ngaba ungolulu Johnson ngokhusta, uba ingokhusta ngumonde Mdichu, ifa ingomonde nguvusumzi Matikinci, ifa ingovusumzi nguWantu Zenzile, may his soul rest in peace, ifa ingoWantu Zenzile nguNgcobo Nguni, may his soul rest in peace as well. So indlu yasekhaya nje basically ibilo type your comrade, you actually say. Bayangena bayaphuma kuyadiscusswa. Umama ke sometimes adambuza uba kahle wena uyintoni, uyikhosasi, uyipeyiko, khona kwi-UDF, ubhizi nje. Ebela laa time kathi mama kaBrenda wazi nix thula uthi tu wena. Athi ke umama, Brenda ungamlandeli utatakho. Umama xa sebona ngathi nam ndiba ne-interest kwi-politics, athi hey, ungalandeli utatakho wena because i-politics asozukutyise, uyawuhamba ecani kwesihlangu. Athi utata ungamameli Brenda mntanam. So every time xa khona irally, tata uya-organiza, kuyahanjwa, iFirenza yakhe incinci izawugcwala ngooComrade, uyabatransporta, whether to Mqeqe or to Centenary, to and from. If irally izawuqala ngo-2, by 10 o'clock utata sekeqala ukuorganize. Yena seyingathi yeyakhe le rally, sekeqala utransporta abantu to and from. Ndikhumbula umama esithi ungasikuthenga ikhumbi nje kube kanye umane uvele ubakhwelise ekhumbini aba bantu bakho ngalo lonke ixesha. Utata ke bewuthanda umzabalazo, bengumntu womzabalazo at the time. And I'm sure we all know into yobana he was one of the best administrators of sports, because wayepresident kwaZakhele Rugby Union, Kwaru. He was also one of the best journalists at the time. Uqale kwapha kwi-rugby bamane bemthuka amabhulu because utata belaa uba there's no normal sport in an abnormal society. Ebhizi neeWatson brothers who loved Kwaru dearly. Apha ke kwi-politics ububona nje into yobana bikukutya kwakhe. I remember one day kufika uRolof Siphendleni enomsindo after irugby, in actual fact day after irally eDenqeqe. Athi uRolof, Simono, did you do mathematics at school? Athi Mon, of course I did. I'm a graduate from Fort Hare University. Why are you asking me that nonsense? Athi Rose, no, it's because all the time you add 0. All the time. If there's 5,000 people, when you will say 50,000. Same thing a Centenary. If there's 2,000 people, you will add 0 at the end and say 20,000. In your head, Mono, do you think a Centenary has that capacity of taking 20,000 people? And so has Denqeqe has the capacity of taking 50,000 people. Tatake will argue with Roloff all the time about the figures. And that you are the one who can count. I count. I'm a graduate. You are not. That was my dad. Ephendula kenjalo. There was a time ezawubanjwa amabhola afika apha endlini uRoloffs, in fact, with 2 other black guys. Uyafika ke uRoloffs athi, Mono, we are here. We want to take you for questioning. Tata, what for? Why don't you ask me here? This is my house. Ask me those questions. Say, why do I have to go to Sanlam? I told Rolos, no, we have to take you. Hey, Putmona resist apha. I decided to klala pants on the floor. Ukhulu mus nomkhaba. uRolos abona into yoba hey, yabona apha uzasixaka le ndoda nala ezidaka hamba nazo ezi bantu bakhe. Thungathi, I can't remember. Yeah. NoGlenn. Hayi, uRolos athatha iwalkie-talkie ke abize Van Lochenberg, khuluma Afrikaans. Within no time siyayibona nansi ihippo ime ngaphandle. Siqobile incincumo forums. You can see xa usekitchen uyabona ngaphandle. Hayi ke fike ke lo muntu aze straight eback. Angene from the back door. Tata ke uhleli on the floor uyathukisa nomama. Ngapha uyathukisa. Hayi, akasuhamba umyeni wami. Nimsaphi? Tontoni. Hayi, gqi uLochenberg ibhule lingakanani elide liwuhe lingaka. Lambamba tata wathi xa bona uLochenberg engena. uLochenberg sekezambamba ngesichani. Tata waziphakamela shem tatam. Wabona uba hey, kandiqhekeze elibhulu. Wahamba wayosikhwelela emotweni eback seat babe bayahamba uRolofs. But even then, wathi ephuma kuloo detention, my dad never stopped. He continued being a comrade, continued to write whatever he wanted to write, the atrocities, the apartheid, how cruel Rolofs is. Abede aba-expose, even ngeli xesha yena ekwe-detention, babe bemtreata kanjani. That's how Putmono was. Ndikhumbula eseZambia, you know, uyafika ke eZambia utata, and I'm excited ukuthi uzobona mna, not knowing into yobana kanti unemission yakhe. One of the days efikile ke kufike I insist uba funeka ebone uThabo nakanjani, funeka ebone uChris nakanjani before ahambe. Hayi ke nyhani sibone sekufika uThabo apha endlini. Uba uarrange njani uba uThabo makafike, I don't know. Nobody knows. Fike ke utata noThabo ke kuhlale ke kube mnandi ke kuxoxwe bahambe bayohlala erumini kuxoxwe whatever they were talking about. Akho nto siyaziyo thina nomama. Ahambe uThabo after some time, after hours behleli. Day after kube sekufika uChris, same house, same thing, bahlale bancokole noChris. Kube mnandi kuhlekwe kuthweni. After some time ahambe Chonyane. Chris anahambe ndimbuze, tata ntoni le nto ubuxoxe kangaka noChris noThabo xa into yoba akufuneka siyivile thina. Hayi Brenda, awunakwazi yonke into. Eventually athi bendithunywe nguWinnie. Ndineeleta ezimbini apha ebendisiphethe, one ekaThabo Mbeki, enye ekaChrisane. And I was instructed into yobana ndingabanikezi bobabini ngexesha elinye, ndibanikeze ngamaxesha ohlukene. So ndimnikile uChris ekaChris ngexesha lakhe, ndamnika uThabo ekaThabo ngexesha lakhe. That's how my dad was. And ekhona nje ngezo ntsuku nje eLusaka kungena booComrade Billy Mdise, kuyaphithizela, you know. Ayipheli nje eziComrade sinabo thina base-exile endlini until utata wahamba. Utata ke ngenye imini ke kule nto yakhe yokujikeleza eLusaka and interviewing ooComrades. Amane ebuza, yintoni ezibheki, kukhona ibheki ezincinci sasiziphatha. Ezibheki niziphethe ezincinci yintoni? Kukho ntoni kwezibheki? ooComrade batsho into yobana hayi, Putmono mani siphethe ipistol kaloku apha, akufunanga nje sihambe free apha. You know, amabhulu, they are everywhere, you know, i-enemy. Tata wathi land apha eSouth Africa wabebhala into yobana all cadres of MK kweza bheks ezincinci, you must know ukuthi kukho ipistol. Yena akayicingi into yobana uyasi-expose. Samqumbela ke, we got angry by, hey, this guy uyasi-expose ngoku emabhulwini. And as a result of that, after that, those bags were called monopatela. Now uphethe monopatela. That was my dad for you. Ndikhumbula one day kukhona ucomrade MKK da elaswelekele Northern Transvaal. Xa lisweleke LK Northern Transvaal, amabhulu avuma, system yavuma uba ayongcwatyelwa kokwabebhayi kwaZakhele, if I remember. Kungcwatyelwa utata ku-excited uba hey, busy ke ngoku nesi story iveki yonke, 2 weeks into enjalo. Funa idate ye-funeral, uquqile kule ndlela umama, amanesithi kule mama, ungabi navare wena mama, uyazi u-R Tambo, uzawafumana la mabhulu. Mama khona kazi noba ngubani u-R Tambo ngelo xesha. Yazi u-R Tambo, uzawafumana la mabhulu. The day ke kufuneka efikile umzimba ucomrade e-airport ngaloo mini. Kwathiwa ke uzawufika umzimba ngo8:30 or 9 o'clock, I can't remember. My dad left the house at 5 o'clock. Yayivalwa mos i-airport kudala. I think yayivulwa ngo-6. Umama dadi yetha kaBrenda, uyaphi because i-airport ivaliwe and umzimba uzofika ngo-9. Athi mama, tata, awazi nix wena makaBrenda. Amabhulu angathi umzimba uzofika ngo-9 kanti umzimba uzofika ngo-6. Xa ivula i-airport, I must be there. And indeed, my dad was there. Ilanda nje i-plane ne-cater. Tata wayithatha i-picture, i-plane isaland. I-headlines zakhe ngela xesha, think yawayebhalela i-City Press, I can't remember, was the guerrilla has landed. I-excitement eyayilapha, aphambana amabhulu, xa ethi efika kanti uBhutmono dala egqibile esithethile story. Athe efuna uconfiscate loo camera yakhe walwa, azange ayithathe nangoku. Yaphuma ke i-picture yaloo plane injalo, i-guerrilla lilendile e-PE. That was my dad for you. Ebeba njalo ke, kungekho rala angafuni ukuya kuyo, kungekho anything angafuni ungayi kuyo, engafuna nje uphoso. Ndikhumbula one day ekwi-house arrest, ebekhe wakwi-house arrest most for 5 years, I don't remember. Kufika uMonde Mditshwa apha endlini, esombona nje during the day. Wafika amabhulu, xa bambonile amabhulu uMonde exingene egethini because amabhulu ebemaphaa elalini emhlophe ajonge ekhaya. Fika uMonde usahleli notata kumnandi kuyancokola, amkhupha amxelele ubana you are not allowed to be here, this person is under house arrest, blah blah. UMonde akaphambani, wabaxela where to get off, banizobona uBhutmono apha, and it's not after 5. As far as I know, uBhutmono kamelanga bani visitors after 5, and i-visitor ekhoyo i-1. Nanithe akufuneka kube na more than 1 visitor at a time. I'm the only one, nosisi apha, noBhutmono, andiyindawo. Waxambulisana uMditshwa namabhulu, kwaqhuma uthuli, ancama amabhulu. So that's Bhutmono for you. Lastly, I just want to thank Amaqhawethu Foundation, Comrade Msolisi Gyasi, and the rest of the comrades for recommending that Umanex Bhutmono wenu athole the award, National Orders. I'm sure we all know that in April this year, the president awarded him with the Order of Ikhamanga in gold. That was the recommendation of Amaqhawethu Foundation Group, that Umanex must have this, and indeed, the president approved the award, and we went and received it on his behalf with my brother Pico. He took it on his behalf. Thank you so much, comrade. I think it was long overdue. We really thank you. He really played his role during the struggle days. And course, I don't know what to say. I've got so much to talk about him. So much to talk about him. Yeah, it feels like yesterday. Look, yeah, it's about 21 years now, but He was there in spirit. Thank you so much, comrades. Thank you.
Thank you once again for listening. Thank you for watching this program of ours. As today we're discussing about Ubawo Monopatela. You heard for yourself what his comrades, you heard for yourself what his students, if I may call them, have to say about him. You heard what Lennox Vanji mentioned, how this person was able to bring to the fore. You heard the statement of Vusi Matikinca about the role he played in, besides being a journalist. You heard what Zola Mtatsi, Zoli Sityasi, and Monde Dishwa mentioned. Remember that he was recognized, although he is no longer there, for his role by the President of South Africa. And we appreciate the role that he has played in the struggle for liberation. Thanks for watching. My name is Yongamela Manene. On behalf of Amaqhawe Ethu, we always want to thank you, as well as Mpuma Kapa, for making this program able to come to your homes and listen about liberation heritage. Till we meet again, thanks for watching.